Welcome everyone, this is just a quick video premise to say that this episode is going to be all about weapons. I sorted through my weapons up here and I'm just trying to look at which weapons we've gotten so far and what it means for us, which ones we'd want to take for the Triffid Grove. But the actual Triffid Grove will not be until next episode. You won't really miss anything but an exposition on CDDA's weapons if you skip this video entirely. So if at any point you find it tedious, please just stop watching and you can come back for the next episode. You won't have missed any of the plot really. This is kind of just me. I'm not an expert on weapons. I usually use melee, so this is kind of me like fumbling through a learn as you go type experience with the weapons. And we should be back to a little bit more of my expertise after this episode, so so like I said, just feel free to skip it, but if not, then please enjoy. Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. I'm thoroughly enjoying this Let's Play series. It really is kind of in the spirit of a Let's Play series where you just really enjoy what you're playing and you just want to record while you're doing it. I'm trying to make it somewhat instructional, so off camera, for example, I have organized my guns. Here's my rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, and handguns. So we can kind of look through and see which ones we'd prefer, and then we can figure out which ones we want to take. Also, off camera, I kind of organized my equipment. So over here we have a lot of the armor type equipment I have, and I've gotten myself up to a really sizable amount of options. I'm actually already wearing, I decided to wear the flame resistant suit and the flame resistant gloves. These don't create too much warmth, which is actually what I was going for, but they give good environmental protection. And I gotta say, I wasted like probably around 1,500 thread tailoring all these things and probably some patches of stuff to fix it in order to get everything to fit. So I originally had multiple pairs of turnout boots and turnout coat, but some of them had to be sacrificed so that the others would be a good fit, because none of them fit me at first. And that's stuff that I picked up from a fire truck kind of near the watering hole I showed you, right below the military surplus store over here. There was a fire truck, or maybe it was the road which runs east and west, which was just south of that location, so a little closer to the sporting goods store. Is this what this was? Clothing store and the park. And yeah, sporting goods store. So right outside here, that might have been the fire truck there. I don't remember which exact location, but I found some turnout gear, which is great protective equipment. The exact reason why I want to do a firefighter start for my next gameplay series. Although it's debatable. I mean, kind of one of the things I want to do personally that I've never done an extensive playthrough of is like a survival in the wilderness start. But my sentiments on doing a Let's Play series on that is it would not make for good material, because a lot of it is, well, like hoarding and basic survival stuff, which is extremely interesting to me, but maybe not as interesting to people watching because there's a lot less action involved. So let's get into what kind of guns we want to take. And I have to say, I've mentioned from the very beginning that I'm just not a person who prefers guns. I prefer my melee weapons. And I have left a lot of the weapons I actually prefer to use, like the longbow, the BB gun, the slingshot. A slingshot has just recently become a real favorite of mine. I didn't realize how incredibly damaging it is. It's really remarkable how much damage you can do with it. If you see some guns left over here, first of all, this gun I'm not going to take with me. It's like a super EMP gun for robots. It's like kind of futuristic, and I told you already I'm kind of getting away from the futuristic stuff. Otherwise, if you see some of these other guns which are useful, these are duplicates. And another thing I should mention, we saw here that the taser is a little bit damaged, but we'll see that, you remember I picked up an M60, an M240, these were very heavily damaged. Well, now I've actually fixed them, so they're in better shape. I'm using just this, right at the very bottom there, let's go down and go up. This gunsmith repair kit I picked up, I think that was on camera last episode. Remarkable item. And with that, we were able to fix all our items up. So anything with the double plus is something I fixed, including actually this. Wait, no. Yeah, I guess everything that has that double plus is something I fixed up. Oh, look, we even have 2 of these guns, so you know what? I'll go and drop one of those back over here, just so we have one of each, so we can see these are all my rifles. Here's all my submachine guns. Here's my shotguns. And here are my pistols, my handguns. So I've organized them all, although I kept all the magazines and all the ammunition in my inventory. I also don't know, I've never experimented. I told you I'm not very deep into the weapons, to an understanding of how weapons play a part in this game. I don't know if having multiple magazines ready to swap out of your gun is faster than individually loading bullets back into your magazine and then firing again. I'm not sure. From my experience, I haven't swapped magazines before. So here I have like 6 Glock magazines, and technically in real life it would be faster to just unload, in Cataclysm terms at least, in CDDA terms, it would be faster to unload your Glock when you've expended all the bullets from your magazine. It would be faster in real life to put a new magazine in, but in this game, the way I've only done it is just had the bullets in your inventory, and then you put them into the magazine by reloading that way. I mean, in real life that would take a lot longer because you'd have to, well, one at a time, each cartridge has to go in. And if you had a magazine already loaded like that, you just swap the 2 magazines very quickly. But I don't know, I don't think that doing this magazine swap really is that big of a deal in this game, because when I've reloaded by doing the individual ammunition and not the magazine swap, it has been very quick, and I can't imagine it's any faster for just doing the whole magazine. Nonetheless, just in case, I do have all the magazines, so I was at first just taking 1 magazine of each kind, and then I decided, you know what, let's just in case, let's take all of them. So some of these I'm not going to use. I already know that for sure. What I wanted to do is kind of drop the magazines in their respective locations. So below the gun, we can get like this, and the Sten is a submachine gun. So the only 2 magazines I'm sure that are the AK-74 and the Ruger 223. This should correspond to the Ruger Mini. Yep, there it uses the Ruger 223. And then of course the AK-74. So that's that, but we know the Sten is here along with the Scorpion and the American, so we'll have to drop those magazines here. A Sten, Scorpion, and I don't remember what... Oh yeah, right, of course, this. That's for the American 180, uses the A180 magazine. So that's good. Okay, now down here, over here we have shotguns, which aren't going to use magazines. I'm just going to drop all the bird shot, as well as any shotgun shot, reloaded buckshot, and the normal stuff. So we'll just drop all that ammunition over there. I think that's all of the shotgun ammo that we have. Okay, so we'll drop that just by itself because there's no cartridges. I mean, there's no magazines for shotguns. I don't think there's even clips, which would be probably for handguns. Anyway, this is bringing us 2 handguns we have over here. We have our Glock stuff, our Glock. Oh, that's probably a rifle, but we'll come back to that. That one's a rifle. Huh, we have 2, a combat magazine and a magazine. I'll have to see what the difference is between that. Why would you want, if there's an advantage? 1911, M9. Okay, the MP5s are obviously, I missed that. Oh, okay, so the Saiga 12 does have a box magazine for the shotgun. That's good to know. And I don't think we have an Uzi. I don't know if the Uzi is registered as a handgun or a submachine gun. It's kind of both. Probably a submachine gun just because the way it fires. You'd probably have to... Well, I don't know. The way you hold it is a handgun, so... Or do you? I guess you hold it like a submachine gun. Anyway, so we put our magazines down here. So we see our guns up here. Have their magazines down there. Just want to make sure, let's just go through each one of these together. The USP 9mm magazine, I don't think I have that. The Glock magazine I do have, and I already put down there. So we have two. This is interesting. I think this one must already have a magazine in it. It does. Let's pick that one up. Oh, yeah, I didn't unload any of the magazines. Well, that was a mistake. Excuse me. Let me go ahead and just grab those and unload them. Okay, unload, unload. Why am I doing it this way? I don't know. For God's sake, I don't know. I'm just doing it because it can be done. We'll drop the extra Glock 19 that we have over here. So now we only have one of each. Yeah, why am I doing this? I wanted to separate the magazines so that I could look at individual ammunition below that. I was going to have like 3 tiers here. We'd have a tier of ammunition, probably here. Space just to walk or to separate the guns from their other associated parts. And I don't even know how I wanted to organize the ammunition, because ammunition is not just... Some of it can be directly for rifles, some of it can be... What we could do is something like... Well, obviously the shotgun rounds don't need to be done, but we could do something like... yeah, kind of like maybe more or less what they're designed for. So the rifle rounds, the submachine gun rounds, and the handgun rounds would probably share. So it'd be like heavy weaponry and then the lighter caliber stuff. Yeah, and then, so the goal for this episode is, oh, I didn't show you yet. There it is. Here's our hatchback. I brought her over. Now, unfortunately, her windshield is broken here. It's enough to let air through. So we actually, I do have a repair kit. I think we could use that, but we do want to be very warm. Actually, it's a really good thing. At first I was like, oh, why is my leg freezing? And it didn't take a couple seconds for me to be like, yeah, the windshield's broken. It's letting air through. But it's actually a really good thing, because in general we're going to be on the hot side, and that is going to be just a quick ticket for us to cool off. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about that. So let's get back to the task at hand. What I'm probably going to end up doing is comparing using this Shift-I. This is the advanced compare. We can see items to compare. So I want to compare... Oh, we forgot to drop these guns. Now that they have been... The magazines have been unloaded, so let's drop the rest of the magazines that we want here. But I'm pretty sure that FN 57 is... Which one does the FN 57 is a machine gun? Do I have... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, I thought it was this one, but I'm mistaken. This is the FN SCAR. It requires separate. Does anybody here take FN? No, doesn't look like it. Okay, well, I'm going to just drop this magazine over here. We can look at it this way. This loads 5.7 millimeter. This is standard capacity used with the FN 57. So I actually think I know that weapon, but like it's pulling up an image of a page on the internet I browsed at some point. Nonetheless, I'm just going to guess that that goes down here. The H&K 46. Gosh, I don't remember. Okay, look, I know the M14 magazines are going to go down here. I know that the MP5 magazines are going to go down here, and I know that the shotgun ammo is going to go here. So that's what I know for sure, is that this is shotgun stuff. What kind of weapons do we even want to take with us? Well, I guess that was the whole point of comparing these things. So if we look on the floor to the northwest, let's compare the AK-74 and the Ruger Mini 14. Now, keep in mind that this is using 223, which let's do this comparison a little bit more intelligently. Let's compare first the Ruger Mini 14 with the AR-15, which will directly compete for ammunition. They are both using 223. So what do we see about this? It looks like the Ruger Mini 14 is better at damage. It's also better at dispersion. Sight dispersion is equal. Approximate recoil is equal. Reload time approximately equal. What is the difference? I don't really know. I can't say which one I would prefer to have, but just knowing that this one is less It's less size, smaller size, less weight, more damage, less dispersion. Like everything is in favor of the Ruger Mini 14. So therefore, we will be using the Ruger Mini 14 as our basis for comparison with other people. And then if we find something better than that, I'm only going to take one rifle with me. Again, one of the nice things, not again, but for the first time, our rifle skill, first of all, marksmanship's up to 5, which is great, but our rifle skill has been improved significantly by all the BB gun usage we did, which I highly recommend. Grab a BB, go shoot some squirrels. It was very effective. So going back to our advanced comparison, oops. So now we compare this with the AK. So it looks like it's going to be more accurate. We don't really need to think about maximum aiming time too much because we can actually bring that down with some modifications. So in other words, I think the Ruger Mini 14 is better because we also have trigger happy, which means that we will from time to time go full auto without really wanting to. You know, I may be saying single fire. This weapon is not fully automatic enabled. You can see that it only has semi-auto. But the AK, yes, it's very well known that the AK can go fully automatic. Although this is not the AK-47 most people think about. This is a pretty, much more compact design. So let's compare with the M1 Garand. Now, I imagine that this one is going to, we aren't looking at the ammunition type here, but this is 30-06 for 223. This is like a pebble versus a cannon. But let's see here. Still, this is going to be more accurate. It's going to do less damage, we know. I don't know. I really don't know which one is the better one between these two because it really depends on your purpose. If you want to do sniping from long range, obviously the M1 Garand, but I think that that's not the situation we'll be finding ourselves in very often, and nor do we really have the marksmanship. I think if we get marksmanship and we get rifle up to maybe both 6 or around that range, I'd be more trusting of using the M1 Garand from longer range. It doesn't say the range here, that's usually based on the ammunition, but so Ruger Mini 14 still carrying the day. Now, I have repaired all these things, so the Scar H, which we originally got, although I don't even know if we have ammunition for this thing, but, whoa, damage -1, never a good start. Dispersion good, is better. This can go fully automatic, that's a negative. Recoil is less, but dispersion, recoil is less over here, which would make sense. This is a more powerful gun. This is using a 308 versus the 223. Dispersion is greater over here, actually. Much worse recoil, which means that you can't fire this as often in succession. I still think the Ruger Mini 14 is our leading candidate, but we should take a look at the ammunition for the 308 ammunition, compare it with the 223. We also, if we have much more abundant ammunition for one versus the other, we'll of course have to do the comparison with that way. Looks like our M1A already has an M14 magazine equipped. I didn't remove the magazines here. I really wanted to just get familiar with all these magazines, which is kind of the reason why I was looking at it. Still don't know why that what that M14 compact magazine is going to do. But let's see here. So this one has worse damage, worse dispersion, which everything is worse. The only thing that's going to be much better about this is, like I said, the 308. Again, this is just like the M1 Garand. It's the M1A. They're very similar rifles. Now we have our huge cannons, really like the Rambo type weapons, the M240. Better damage, worse dispersion. I imagine the recoil, it only says, okay, here, recommended strength for the burst is 27 because it is so crazy. This one only has full auto as its firing mode. I do not trust us. I don't even think we have this No, we probably have 308, but this is just going to take people's arms off. We don't need that. This is going to be the same situation. In fact, if I wanted to, I should probably do a comparison between 240, 140, 142, and 27. 140, 142, and 27. So this one looks to be a little bit better, the M60. Now we have the Keltec Sub 2000, another rifle gun. This one looks better actually. So we have higher damage, much faster aiming time. That's significant enough that I think we'd actually consider it extremely low recoil. But now we see why, of course. It's using a Glock magazine, so this is only going to be firing 9mm ammunition. A uniquely designed pistol caliber carbine with an integral folding stock. I think that should be integrated folding stock. Integral. I'm actually not sure. Like, for some reason English is becoming difficult in this very moment. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Folding stock that makes use of the 9mm Glock magazines, right? Okay, this is integrated. So it says integrated here. I don't know. That's the way I would say it. A folding stock which reduces volume but needs unfolding before use. Increases the time needed to wield the weapon. Okay, so it decreases the volume, but it increases the time to actually activate it. That's fine. Probably for weapons, we'll be carrying them outright, and then we'll just drop them when we need to go to melee. But we'll be carrying the weapon around to begin with, so that shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, so let's move on to the Winchester Model 70. Now, this is a nice old gun. It's going to do a lot of damage. It uses this I don't know what the short version, the typical pronunciation of this is. It's just the Winchester big rounds. Anyway, it's a bolt action sporting rifle. I guess it has an iconic place in American sporting culture. I know not enough about weapons to be able to judge this. Anyways, let's see what this one is. Just gonna have some strange rounds. I actually want to jump now that we've kind of looked through all of these weapons. Let's see what we have lying on the ground here. Okay, so it's actually gonna be in our inventory. We're gonna have lots of 22. Here's the 223 Remington. This is what we'll be using for, I guess, the winner. If it is the winner, was the 14. What was it called? The Ruger Mini 14. I'm just going to pick it up into our inventory because it is currently the winner. And you know what? Let's grab a magazine for it. So that means that if I look at this and I hit reload, it automatically reloaded 10 rounds. Okay, it's not that big of a clip, but 10 rounds of 223, which means that we're left with, oops. Now that is what I wanted to do, get the magazines. Yeah, we're left with only 20 of this. So it's very clear that this 223 ammunition should belong down here with this and this. So there we have it. We have the 223 Remington, which matches up very nicely with the Ruger magazine. And if we wanted, we could actually load all 3 magazines. Again, I don't know if that helps. I don't know if that helps. It might even be slower in this game, which would be very counterintuitive, but I just don't know. There's the Winchester ammo. So this is 270 actually. What does this go to? I'm not sure. I thought that this is what the Winchester used. Let's just find out. It said something like 30 or whatever, but okay, so if we go this and we hit reload, we're out of it. Okay, so it is absolutely correct. That is not the same weapon. We don't have any kind of ammunition to reload with it. That's the best way of finding out what kind of ammunition it uses. Just pick it up and try to reload it. So that means that we can drop this Winchester. This might be shotgun ammunition. I just can't tell from the description. No, this is a bullet. Yeah, this is a bullet. Range of 65 is probably a huge giveaway. It's not a shotgun. 30-06 Springfield, I think we know what that would go to. And this one has an M14. So the question is, what is the difference between these 2 magazines? Let's find out. This one is 20 rounds, and this one is 5 rounds. Good lord. It's half the reload time, but honest to God, if you need more than 20 shots, I mean, good lord. Heaven help you if you need more than 20 shots from your either M1. So I think we will not be using the combat magazine, even though it takes less time to load. Only having 5 shots, that does seem okay. You probably can put down any threat you need, unless you're being overrun by zombies. Yeah. Well, let's also look at the ammunition for, this is 7.62. Actually, I think this is AK ammo. We don't have anything that uses this. I'm pretty sure that the AK-72 uses this ammunition. And the only way to find that out is just to... Do we have... There it is. Yeah, so this is going to use... Well, we'll find out in a second when we reload it. We reloaded it, and what does it have? Yeah, it has that 545 by 39. And how much more of that do we have? Maybe we don't have any. Whoops, in here. We have none left. So this is exactly all the AK ammunition we have. We'll just drop the magazine which is loaded. I'm doing this experiment on camera basically. If you know about handguns, probably you'll skip forward in the video. But if you're interested in seeing more about this like I am, I'm just kind of learning as I go here. So we'll put that down because we've already kind of figured it out. This is actually handgun ammunition despite its high caliber. This is our Glock ammunition. I was looking for, like, we have so much 22 ammunition. Oh, this is interesting. What is this? Interesting. Rat shot, 22 rat shot. That sounds absolutely terrible. It says only damage 6, but this is the kind of round I'm sure that can make you just bleed out. Probably causes terrible damage internally. I imagine that that is the kind of round that it shotguns into your system, right? And just rips all kinds of internal stuff apart. Not a good thing. Look at how incredibly damaging this ammunition is. Good lord. 62. We already saw the Winchester also. This one is 64 with a lot of armor piercing as well. For armor piercing or higher, I would consider at least decent. Yes, I don't really know how to organize this. It should be like handguns here and everything else. I mean, it should be handguns here and everything else here. I mean, sorry, handguns here and all the rifle heavy caliber rounds here, but I don't really even know if that's the best way of doing this. Maybe we should just have all the magazines and things already loaded into the guns so that I can just look at it very quickly. I don't know. I haven't developed a system for handguns yet because I don't use guns. In all my playthroughs, I like to use the longbow, and yeah, actually mainly the longbow. I didn't realize how good the slingshot was. I might incorporate that a little bit more, and stuff like javelins and all that. That's a little fun to use. So we're gonna take. We already took, I guess, the Ruger Mini 14. I guess because it might. Let's see the difference in space between carrying the other Ruger magazines. No. Wait. Yes. So a fully loaded is half a pound, but okay, so the main thing is it's a 0.25, and this is 0.25, of course. How much is the ammunition, though? How much space... Did I not pick it up? I didn't, of course. Ah, interesting. So this is 0.24. If I was able to load a single one of these, it would be... It doesn't really save that much inventory space. It's kind of split in hairs. So I can see that my volume right now is 87.6. If I go to pretend to drop the 223, it goes down by 0.5. How much does it go down if we drop both of these? Less. So it is actually better to keep it stored in the magazines. Great. Good to know. No reason not to do it then. So we have our Ruger Mini 14, and we will be carrying with it these 3 magazines. Very good. That's one way of solving the problem. Over here, I really don't like the briefcase SMG. I hate the idea of it. I just hate everything about it. We won't be using it. It currently is... Okay, we actually need to pick it up and unload it, though, to get the Sten magazine out. And then drop it back down. I just don't like it. I much prefer the Sten. In fact, I don't even like to see the icon on the top. But let's do a comparison, our due diligence, to the north. Starting with the American 180, and we'll compare that with versus the staple MP5. So when it comes to damage, the American 180 is better. When it comes to dispersion, the MP5 is better. When it comes to recoil, surprisingly, the American 180 is better. I guess this is a really light machine gun. Yeah, this fires 22. Actually, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. It might make it a better weapon, in fact. Because we have so much 22 ammunition to go through. And I think that this is... I prefer to use the 22 ammunition with rifles, to be honest. But the fact that we can use it in a submachine gun is not a bad thing. And I don't think we had any of these rifles that can use 22 caliber. It's 223. We got 6, 5, 4, yep. Yeah, we don't have anybody else who can use the 22. So I think this is already an American 180 has already made itself an outstanding candidate. Let's compare it with the Scorpion. Wow, impressive. Just in every way better. Now, I think the Scorpion's ammunition is significantly more powerful. Czechoslovak submachine gun from the 1950s, chambered in the 32 ACP. Okay, so this uses 32 ACP, which we do have with us, as you can see here. Good lord, we have 100 rounds of it, but if you add up all the 22 that we have, you would say that we have significantly more than that. Although, interesting, let's just shelve that for a second. Let's see what the Sten, I think the Sten uses the 9mm. Yeah, it does. Scared myself. And the Sten looks in every way worse. This is, yeah, I mean, if you've played like Call of Duty 2, World War II type shooters, this is that really funny submachine gun from the British. It has a distinct sound and everything. Anyway, it's not going to be good for us to use. We will be saving our 9mm ammunition for handguns. So we basically can dismiss the Sten and the briefcase SMG. We won't be using these at all. I also might neglect the MP5 just because, again, submachine gun using 9mm rounds. I'd rather those 9mm rounds go to handguns. Yes, that's basically all I want to say about that. So we will be grabbing the American 180. We don't necessarily need a submachine gun and a rifle though. So before I pick it up, let's just see. We've already kind of gone through the time of developing our rifle skill. And submachine guns we have done nothing with. So I'm going to leave the submachine guns alone. If we survive this encounter with the triffids, we'll come back and maybe do some more with submachine guns. Shotguns. This to me is kind of a no-brainer that we'll be using the Remington, but oh, maybe the Saiga. Let's compare the Saiga versus, well, since I've already kind of mentioned it, let's start with the Remington. Let's compare it with the Saiga 12. Saiga 12 has, I think it's easier to reload because you have a magazine versus just, you know, pump action or whatever. Let's see. So what's the differences here? Much better dispersion from the 870, and I would say this is like equivalent recoil. The rounds they're going to use, this is any kind, and I think the Saiga 12 box, let's just look at what we're dealing with here, because those are about equivalent. So in which case I would rather the Remington, just because the much lower dispersion, but not only that, it actually was smaller in volume. The Saiga 12, yeah, this just takes any 10 rounds of shot. So 10 versus 6, 100 per round to reload versus, for the Remington, 5 seconds per round. Good lord. 5 seconds. These are not comparable units of time. So I think this 100 units means it's 6 seconds. I'm pretty sure... Or maybe this is 60 seconds? 10? I think every 10 is 6 seconds, which means you can reload 10. That's... Okay, so you can reload 10 in a minute, which is 1 per 6 second, which means that reloading them is essentially identical. This is 5 seconds, the other is 6. So we'll just be using the Remington because, again, this is 2.5, weighs a little bit less. 25, 75 versus 3 and 8, 30 and 8, 82, 25, and 75 was the other one. So just slightly better, lower dispersion. And I don't think there's even a reason to compare the rest of them. They're not going to be as good, but we will. Pipe shotgun, this is a homemade one. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Somehow better damage, but dispersion, no. No bueno. And I just don't like using this gun. So we won't. Manual auto shotgun. I don't want auto on my shotguns even, because we could go full auto when we don't intend to. Otherwise, this is higher dispersion, better recoil actually, which makes sense though because, you know, a single shot. I mean, if it's an auto, then you need less recoil, because how else are you going to do auto? Yeah, so we'll still favor the Remington. And the last one, the Keltec KSG, I actually don't know much about this one. It's smaller, better oh good god, this is actually probably a better one. A bullpup, oh, is dispersion much worse? No, 45, 45, and recoil is only slightly worse. Okay, this is very interesting. There's an integrated mod. Second magazine. The integrated second shotgun magazine of the Keltec KSG, which holds 7 shots. It's irremovable. Fascinating. So you can actually load this up with 14 rounds then? Am I to understand that correctly? Let's find out. Uses a pair of magazine tubes to increase its capacity. Each tube has to be loaded separately, but this offers the option of loading ammunition, different ammunition for different situations. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I really think this is our go-to then. It has 7 versus 6. Better aiming time. Same dispersion. I mean, the only thing worse about it is slightly worse recoil, which can be a problem with shotguns, but I think we've made up our mind. It's going to be the Keltec KSG. Congratulations, you're the winner. So, that's awesome. And I do like to carry a rifle and a shotgun. So we'll grab this, and what we're going to do is grab all of the reloaded shot. You can see the difference is 50 damage versus 45. Probably I shouldn't care. In fact, what we'll do is we'll grab 40 of this as well. This shotgun shot would actually be the best to use first. So what we'll do is I'll take out the reloaded. I still will take 40 of the buckshot, the good stuff, just in case we get ourselves into a real fix. And I could take the birdshot as well. It's better to use this first, of course. We'll probably load this and keep the buckshot in the second one. I don't know how it works with this gun, so let's just find out. Let's go ahead and wield this. Okay, so we have this massive shotgun on us, as the image implies. So we want to reload from our inventory, yes. We want to reload birdshot into one of them, which is only going to do 15 damage, but that's good. So this is, I guess, the second. Yeah, it actually gives us an option to do. Okay, this is fantastic. Now it's asking us what to do. Okay, reload from our birdshot. Oh. Okay, so if you double tap R, it reloads the last one you did. Now we can do this, and we should just double tap R, and it will do the last one we did. That's really nice. Fantastic. Okay, so we have two different things in there. 7 shots of each, and with us, we will be carrying the rest of the birdshot and the rest of this really special stuff. We'll also be carrying with us the makeshift shotgun shot, with just in case all that birdshot gets used up. Yeah, this is great. I really, really, really like that weapon. I'm so glad we spent the time to look through it here. Yeah, geez, this whole episode is just going to be all about weapons. So the last thing we need to compare are handguns, and these are usually extremely, extremely difficult to choose between, in my opinion. We'll start with probably the most common handgun in the world, the Glock 19, and we'll compare it against maybe its most equal among these, the USB 9mm. Okay, so here we have the Glock 19, damage -1, damage -1, dispersion 480-400. If you want to be petty about it, the Glock 19 weighs a little bit more. Otherwise, worse recoil on the USP 9mm. So it's just almost impossible to distinguish between these two. Basically, it'll come down to, we have a lot of Glock magazines, so we'll probably prefer the Glock 19. Possibly the most popular pistol in existence. The Glock 19 is often derided for its plastic construction, but it is easy to shoot. Over here we have the USB 9mm. A popular pistol, widely used among law enforcement, extensively tested for durability. It has been found to stay accurate even after being subjected to extreme abuse. I guess between the two I would prefer the USB 9mm if we had enough magazines, but this is a good question to ask ourselves. We only have one of these magazines and we have 7 Glock magazines. Now we have 3 M1911s and we have 3 of the Glock 22. So let's take a look at that. So let's continue our comparison, I should do. Okay, so now the winner, I guess, was the Glock 19 because they were about even, and this one has more magazines. So let's start comparing this with other things. Let's do the next most apple-to-apple comparison, in my opinion, 1911. No, this is not a good. This is not the next, the UCP. Okay, so this is designed to work with HK's proprietary, very small round. The UCP is a small pistol with a very high capacity, best used against armored opponents. This is going to have, I guess, armored piercing, but in every other way, it's already immediately better. However, how much H&K, whatever ammunition do we have? In fact, if we pick this up, can we reload it? Okay, so we have an H&K 40.6, but can we reload that? No. So I'm just going to drop this back down. It's not an option, and we'll move on with our comparison. So we'll pick up this one. We'll now go to the 38. This is an extremely dangerous, very powerful weapon, the Ruger LCR 38. A compact double-action only revolver designed for easy concealment with a stainless steel cylinder and aluminum frame. So it's very small. I was using this one when we first started. It reloads very quick. Pretty bad dispersion and all that. Actually, it looks in every way almost better than the Glock 19. Uses a, I think this round is much more damaging. Let's look at the 38 versus the 9mm. So we have, well, any of these we can grab for 9mm. Let's just use, wait, do I? Oh, do I only have this? Is this the only 9mm round I have? Well, okay, 26, 14, 60, 500. Let's try to compare this. Let's do this a little bit better. So this versus the 38. We have 38 well, this is apples to apples. No, not quite. It's 26 versus 18. Armor piercing though, 38. Lower dispersion, quite a lot lower dispersion, lower recoil. Let's compare it with this. Yeah, so it looks like the 9mm is just going to do more damage. How much more ammunition do we have? We have 80 of this. Oh, sorry, 80 of this. And 247 of this. I mean, I think we're going to end up using the 9mm ammunition just because we have so much of it. And it's going to be much more common in our travels as well. If we happen to come across ammunition, it's likely to be for them. But let's do our last comparison. I guess I kind of like to, I was saving this one a little bit for last. We have the Glock 22, which I actually really like this weapon. It's a 40 Smith & Wesson, like that's pretty big. Variant of the popular Glock 17 pistol, the standard issue firearm of the FBI and countless other large law enforcement agencies worldwide. I'm starting to learn my command of English. Anyway, better damage, much higher recoil, which you'd expect. This gun is going to be much better in terms of dealing damage. If we want to compare the ammunition here, we can do that as well. It is this. So this is 20, 10, 14, 55. Let's just do this in a way which is sensible. Okay, so we have here less damage, but so much more armored piercing, lower dispersion, higher recoil, same range. This is reloaded as well, so it's lower quality compared to this. This is just much more damaging in overall because this is, like I said, the reloaded version, not the good stuff. I think we have only 40 rounds of that. I kind of like to use, you know what, I'm going to use this. The reason for this decision is that our Ruger Mini 14 doesn't have any armor piercing. It only has 2 armor piercing. High damage, low armor piercing. So we'll reload one of the magazines with it. So if we take this Glock 22, if we reload it with any of these, I guess. And then we reload that with... Oh, we do have 95 rounds of the good stuff, of the juice, 26 and 4, which is great. But this is even better, the full metal jacket, which really penetrates. Actually, this makes this gun probably better to keep here. So, anyways, we've kind of gone through every single weapon that I have. I left like the spear gun and stuff over here, the tube launcher, the 40mm, 40 mic grenades. I don't think we will be bringing that with us, but I hope to not use it. That's like an emergency use only. So we will be extremely well strapped. We'll be able to put our gun into our survivor harness as well, which does activate to draw your weapon. Can carry even a small rifle or other such weapon, but I think it'll carry our handgun. So I'm really excited about the whole next episode. So I guess this we'll just call a weapons episode. I might even edit in a very brief clip in the beginning saying to skip this episode if you just want the triffid hunt, which will be next episode now that we've already gone 45 minutes. So, a review of all the guns and kind of helping me decide on camera what to do. I'm also going to start equipping all my heavy armor. I'll just make sure I know exactly what I want to equip, not the great coat, for example, but we'll get all this stuff. I'll sort this out off camera so I'll know exactly what to take. Otherwise, I mean, mainly it's going to be a decision about whether or not to take the turnout coat, turnout boots, and all this stuff. I think that in general, the turnout gear is going to be the best. However, somehow we don't have any turnout pants, do we? Huh. Okay, well, we'll have to use the army pants. That's still fine. The turnout boots are going to be... Well, that's only 9 and 9. Maybe, see, this is a good question. Do I prefer environmental protection? Or do I prefer the amazing protection that the bash and cut? Questions like this I'll answer off camera. So I'll catch you very soon for hopefully the next episode where, yes, we finally get to the business about killing the Triffid Grove. Until then, take care.